Welcome into the PFF NFL Daily. Today, asking a question that Sam was just asking me off air. So let's answer it. Is Sauce Gardner the very best cornerback in the NFL already? He's a rookie, Sam. We're having defensive rookie of the year debates with Sauce Gardner right now. Is it him? Is it fellow rookie cornerback Tariq Woolen of the Seattle Seahawks? But no, you've jumped all the way to is Sauce Gardner the very best cornerback in the NFL? So
yeah, I've done the thing we hate. You can't say anything small. You got to go big or go
gotta
home.
go big. Best cornerback in the NFL ever, maybe.
Best cornerback ever, right? Greatest of all time, immediately.
Yeah.
But look, I think you can make a case. I don't think defensive rookie of the year is even a conversation, frankly. I know Tariq Woolen hasn't beat with interceptions, but interceptions, as we know, is just a crappy way of measuring anything. Coverage play. The only good measure that interceptions are the number of times you intercepted the ball. That's it. Sauce Gardner has been a better cornerback than Tariq Woolen by a pretty significant margin, I would say. And I think Gardner's also well clear of guys like Aiden Hutchinson or whoever else you want to put there in the defensive rookie of the year conversation. So I think that's done. Whether or not he ends up getting given it, ultimately overall, he should be defensive rookie of the year. It shouldn't even be a debate. And I think at this point, you can make a pretty compelling case that he is already as good as any cornerback in the NFL right now. Now, I tweeted this out. A lot of people got mad. A lot of people liked it. Mixed bag. Some people made the point, which I think is very fair, that there simply isn't a best cornerback in the NFL anymore because it's different every year, right? The position fluctuates so wildly. It's so volatile that this year it's going to be Sauce. Next year, it's going to be Jalen Ramsey. The year after that, it's going to be AJ Terrell. Like whatever. It's a revolving door. But right now, Sauce Gardner is playing as well as any corner in the NFL in year one and looks, like a 5-year veteran.
So, I mean, to answer that part, there might not be a distinguished same number one corner every single year, but that's a rare occurrence anyway. I think it's more, who do you count on the most going forward? We're a few years removed from an era where you could honestly debate Darrelle Revis or Richard Sherman. Who's the best cornerback in the NFL? And they take turns being the best, and they you debate scheme and style and all these different things. But they were in the conversation. Chris Harris was in the conversation as a completely different type of player, playing a different role. But over the last few years, I think Stephon Gilmore took over for 2 or 3 year period, where it's like nobody has a more difficult assignment and the dude executes it at a high level. It's Stephon Gilmore. Well, Gilmore's not in the conversation anymore, but it's like, okay, who's in the conversation? Jair Alexander looked like he should have been a couple years ago. He's been a little bit more up and down since that point. Jalen Ramsey, he's gotten beat a little bit more this year than he has in the past, but I think he still, is in that top 3, right? The guy that you count on going forward. So maybe that's more of the question. Maybe not the best, Sam, but is Sauce Gardner the guy you can count on in the top 3? It doesn't mean the stats or the grades are going to match that every single season, but what they could bring to the table. And what is Sauce's resume right now? 44% completions into his coverage. They attack him down the field like crazy. Doesn't give it up down the field. The Jets defense has been transformed. I think other places they've improved, including the other cornerback spot with DJ Reed, but the Jets had a terrible secondary as recently as last year, and now they're really good, and Sauce Gardner is a huge part of that.
Yeah, I mean, the coverage numbers, I think, are a good starting point. Also, his PFF grade, he's the highest graded corner in the NFL right now. He's the highest coverage grade, as you said, 44% completion rate. He's giving up a passer rating of 48.8 into his coverage. He has only the 2 interceptions, but he's got 12 pass breakups. Like, that guy is making plays on the ball. He's given up 1 touchdown this year, but the 1 touchdown was a communications breakdown within that Jets defense, right? So it's not quite the same as getting just toasted on a route and getting beat into the end zone. It was a mental mistake somewhere in that Jets secondary, and most likely Sauce, given the way that the rest of the defense played the play. But if you again, like, you can't take it out. It happened. It was a thing. But that's the 1 touchdown that he's given up, at least back to high school. Like, he never gave one up in college. That was the famous stat about Sauce Gardner. Never gave up a touchdown. That's the only touchdown he's given up in the NFL so far as a rookie. It's pretty crazy. And when you turn on his tape, he's got such a good feel for zone coverage already. Like, he understands where to go. He understands the route concepts that are threatening his zones. He understands when to fall off the first guy, get towards the second guy, gain depth, all those kinds of things. I honestly think he's one of the best zone corners in the league immediately. And the man coverage stuff, he's really good at that as well. Like he went one-on-one with Stephon Diggs and with Gabe Davis against the Buffalo Bills, and those guys didn't really threaten him. The only time he looked like he was going to get beat was, again, a little bit of a miscommunication when he tried to pass off John Brown on a deep ball, and then the safety wasn't going to pick it up, and he quickly went, "Uh-oh, I got to get back to it," and still managed to chase it down and make the pass breakup.
DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, is my go-to when betting on the NFL this holiday season. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 on any NFL team to win their game and get $150 in free bets if they do. Check it out. Right now, everyone can earn up to 100% boost with DraftKings stepped-up same-game parlays. You go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app, place a same-game parlay, and combine multiple bets like which team will win, player props, point totals, and more. The more legs you add, the bigger the boost, the bigger your shot to win big. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use code PFF. Place a $5 bet on any NFL team to win their game and get $150 in free bets if they do. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook with the code PFF. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. Yeah, Sam, I think what you're describing too, I thought coming out, Sauce looked great in off coverage as a zone player. I think when we were doing draft stuff, you talked a lot about his length and his ability to play press. I actually thought he was better as a zone player, but that was how I described Jalen Ramsey coming out as well. Ramsey had experience at safety, playing in the slot. Then he played outside, and he felt like a guy who's so good as far as zone and zone instincts with press coverage potential, body type, speed, and technique. All that stuff. That's where Sauce, I think that's where he's special, right? Is that he can do all of these things. He's got the body type to be a press man, eraser. And that might not even be the strength of his game right now, which means the potential for a guy that already has an 88 coverage grade or overall grade, the potential's through the roof here for Sauce Gardner.
Yeah, I don't think it is his strength. I think that's the quote unquote weaker side of his game, but he's still really good at it. Like, I think he gets pegged as being that kind of press man type of corner because he's so long and has that type of body. But I don't actually think he's as good as that or good at that as he is in zone. And you're right, it does present this intriguing sort of area of growth for him that if he does become that guy, like he does become a complete shutdown type of corner. If you're looking, though, the question, is he already the best cornerback in the NFL? I think his stats, his performance this year gives a pretty compelling case. The other guys in that conversation, as much as Jalen Ramsey gives up plays, I still think he's so good at making plays. He's in the conversation. I think Jair Alexander is still in there. As much as he's been injured and hasn't hit the heights that he did before, he's still there. Patrick Surtain II, I think, is in that. He's another young guy developing. J.C. Horn, I think, is moving in that direction as well. His coverage numbers are nuts. And Darius Slay is probably the other guy that I would throw his hat into the ring as potential guys that could be that top corner in any given year.
I think you have the right group. It is interesting that Slay and James Bradberry both having great seasons. Bradberry's been a little bit less consistent throughout his career, but I think that's the right group. But I think Sauce, think about all the people that he's been compared to as well. So, Tariq Woolen up in Seattle, because he's long and huge, he's getting the Richard Sherman comps. But Sauce is closer to Richard Sherman, I believe, right? Yeah. The guy that truly erases the deep ball with technique and guile and all that stuff. And he's also a good athlete as well. I think Tariq Woolen, I'm not saying he's Patrick Peterson or anything like that, but he's closer to this athletic freak who's going to make these ridiculous plays, but he's not technically sound there just yet. Sauce has all of this, right? The technical ability, the zone awareness, the man coverage ability. I put him up in that Ramsey, Patrick Surtain category as the guy that I trust the most, maybe going forward. Throw Jair in there. And I am curious to see if J.C. Horn can keep it going. We haven't seen a ton of him yet, but yeah, he's on his way. So, okay, maybe not the best, Sam, but we'll put him in the top. I put Sauce Gardner right now in the top 3.
And look, I don't want to tear down Tariq Woolen either, but just to illustrate the differences between the two of them, Tariq Woolen has given up 7 penalties this season. That hides a lot of coverage numbers. Even if you don't hide the coverage numbers, the yards are almost double what Sauce has given up. He's given up 4 touchdowns as opposed to the 1, mental mistake touchdown that Sauce has given up. So he gives up a lot more in addition to the interceptions that he's had in the plays on the ball. And he has half the number of pass breakups, even if he has more interceptions. Like, he's playing really well, particularly given what we thought of him coming out. But I don't think he's at the same level as a Sauce Gardner or the other guys that we mentioned.
Completely agree on Tariq Woolen. I think Seahawks fans should be absolutely thrilled with his development.
Yeah,
but he's
100%.
not Defensive Rookie of the Year. That is Sauce Gardner, and I think Sauce Gardner's right up there in the top 3. So let us know, is Sauce, as a rookie already, the best? Is he top 3? Where does he rank among cornerbacks? It's the PFF NFL Daily.